Hello everybody, I'm Ard, and welcome to Minecraft Enigmatica 2 Expert, where I hope to walk through the full contents of this mod pack, showing you the breadth and depth of everything you can do in it, as well as hopefully expand on my personal building capabilities. So let's get through the boring part of this and show you some of my personal goals for this series. For me, one of the things I've struggled with for many years now is just getting to build larger. Like, I always build the same small, relatively square huts just to, do my basic first base, just to try to get an idea of what to do, what I need to build, what I need to use for space, and I always make it way too small every single time, and I always kick myself in the butt every single time about a week down the road when I realize I made it too small, and then it becomes really untenable to keep going, and I just kind of fail. So, in the spirit of this, I need to build larger. I also want to try to make things look better. I've been slowly improving on that over the last 2 years or so, but you can always get better. So I need to do better at like trim and decoration, bushes and colors and everything. One of the things I've struggled with in the last goal is get better use of colors, because I tend to gravitate towards blue and white, because that's just the colors I like. So I've got to get better at using other colors, much more vibrant color palettes, stuff like that. I've already got some basic ideas for what I do for my first base build, but we will get to the problems with that shortly. So, the goals for this episode today is we're going to look at the quest book, and we're going to see that one of the first things that this mod pack and a whole lot of similar quest-based mod packs want you to do is build the Tinker's Construct Smeltery, just to progress to basic level Minecraft. And after that, we'll hopefully build a starting base. So, prior to this episode, as you might notice, I have already done a little bit of building, and I've done a little bit of collecting, and I've already kind of got a chest monster going, and a whole bunch of furnaces for apparently no reason. I might have done a little bit of exploring off camera, just a little bit, just a little bit. I started down here, and I found some things, and I looted some villages. I realized I lost my bed at some point, and right at the start of night had to run to the nearest village and go into hiding and find a bed. And then when I woke up, I found some really scary looking zombies outside, ran outside to find some food to heal up, and promptly went outside to attack them with a jar jam, because I couldn't let them kill the villagers. I found a little hut, walked into this fort, saw some villagers self-immolating for some bizarre reason, and found an inventory upgrade cake. Then I found a dragon, and another dragon's horde, and I looted the horde. And then wandered around the corner and found the dragon way too close to the horde and ran away. Then I got ambushed and killed by another dragon. And then I found some dead dragons. It was a lot of fun. But in doing so, I also brought back a bunch of loot. So we did some starting things. I got a bunch of wood. I got a bunch of food in all the villages and chests that I looted. I prepped a bunch of building materials for today, for the base and for the smeltery, just so we wouldn't have to do that later. And then all sorts of random junk that I scavenged from all the places that I've been. Some of it's going to be useful now, some of it's going to be useful much later. But the important things we found were a whole bunch of minor baubles, things that let me like climb up surfaces, things that let me give me slow fall, protect me from fire. The void one, which I don't know how that one would ever happen, but just in case. And then the more important things. So let's start with the boring corner. I have a bunch of pistons, a bunch of chests, and a bunch of furnaces. You're like, why would you have done that? And let me show you, because these things are actually, not the ender chest, are actually obscenely hard to make in this one, because you notice this requires wood, which that's easy, and then treated planks. And to make treated planks, you need creosote. To get creosote, you have to have a coke furnace. So it just rolls on and on and on, and everything in that box is like that. So the pistons are hard to make, the chests are hard to make until later, and then you can mass reduce them obviously, and the furnaces are hard to make. So we looted a bunch of all of these things, and we'll be using them throughout the series so they go faster. We also got a handful of these wooden storage crates, which if you're not familiar with immersive engineering, are basically like shulker boxes. You can pick them up with their contents and toss them in your inventory, and a handful of these small storage crates, which are just giant chests, which we will turn a bunch of these chests into later because they make really good storage. And we found a handful of ender pearls, which are useful eventually. 1 diamond, which unfortunately I need 2, but we'll get into that in a minute. Emeralds, which will be useful later. Some glowstone dust, which something I've never run into before in any of this. Astral sorcery adds a plant that when you break it, drops glowstone, which will be super useful and save us some time having to go into the nether. So that's great. While looting the dragons, I found this, and this is what I was looking for. This looks completely unassuming. This actually looks like it's possibly dangerous to pick up, but what it is a major source of free energy once we get the ability to build it. So you come in here, we can see the recipe to build the... where is it? Uh-oh. Oh no, is this the wrong one? Yeah, this is the wrong one. Nuts. Okay, this isn't exciting as I thought it was. I did some looking. This isn't the California mite needed. So, for future reference, I can't type. The California mill we're looking for is actually the 250, I think? Maybe? Yeah, it's me, the California RPG, which just constantly produces energy. So I guess we're going to have to go loot some more Dragon's Nest to see if we can get some free power later. I was excited up until I discovered that one, so this is already off to a great start. While running away from a dragon, I found an ender lily while smashing some leaves. This lets you grow ender pearls. It grows best on endstone, but you can grow it on dirt just fine. I'm going to take that out and plant it, just so it's useful. And this right here is one of the most important things I found. It's the air charm, which lets me fly. It chews through its durability pretty fast, but once we've built a lava anvil or a diamond anvil, we'll actually be able to repair it pretty easily. And then the last thing is an ender sack, which is basically just an ender chest you don't have to put down. And I have another chest. The other thing I found while I was out exploring was an end cake, I think it's called, which also gives you another stack of inventory slots, which you can actually use to hot swap up and down with your hotbar, which is kind of neat, not entirely useful, and also a secondary set of inventory or equipment slots. So there's that. This is what I found. This is what we're going to prep. So what we need to do at this point is look at the quest. Note we need to go plant the ender seed before I forget. There we go. Okay, is to look at the quest book, however. So let's take a look at it. Let's do the first step. So we come in here. We already opened it up. So you can see there's a bunch of quest sections, but we need to go into getting started first and click on the welcome task, which just gives us a bunch of starting armor, which we don't need, but I was waiting to start this episode before I went and did this. So we'll click this button. We'll get our starting stuff, which also includes a backpack or stuff for a backpack, which we will go into in a minute. So we have the backpack wooden frame. We'll let you do just the tan leather we also got around it, and then it makes the backpack frame pieces. So you just toss in all the tan leather, take the small backpack, put it on. Okay, after you've crafted the backpack, you will need to make sure that the backpack slot or the backpack hotkey is not actually bound to something else. It would be this one right here. That's just labeled the backpack, not the iron backpack one. It will be usually red most of the time, so you'll need to make sure it's whatever's sitting on it is gone. Or when I was on a key that's not shared. And then the very first thing you do is you hit Shift and then B to open up this, which says special slots. You just take your backpack, slap it in there, and then you have even more inventory. So I have a bunch of inventory now that more than I actually need right now. So it would have been useful when I was exploring, but that's where we're at. So then we go in here, we can come back here. You'll see that I've opened up a couple things. This just says that we have a vein miner, which is ore excavation. It just lets us auto chop down trees and dig giant holes, which is how we gathered most of the stuff. So if you come over here like this, I can hold down the ore miner key, just click this, and the tree is gone. Shouldn't be a surprise for most of you playing modern Minecraft. It's a pretty common feature in most of the mod packs these days, but it's just telling you that it's there. So we back off of that, and then we need to do harvest level 0, which is grab flint, which we already have, and we will take stuff. I'm just going to take the steel knife blade, I think, because we can melt it down later. And we'll do that. And then now it wants us to make a clay bucket, which is super easy. It's just 3 clay and chuck it in the furnace. So I will make you suffer and watch this one real fast. This only takes a second. Ding, 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 ding. got that, and then we claim the loot chest, and then we can just chuck it in here and set that to fire. That will be important because we will need lava to make the smeltery, which here it is. Now we have this stuff. We also, in theory, I think it opened up a bunch of the other gates and stuff for here somewhere. Yeah, because we picked up things that unlock stuff like the coke oven and whatnot. But we'll get into that later. So right now we need to go build the smeltery. To build the smeltery, you need a bunch of seared bricks. And you make seared bricks by making a ton of grout, which is just a whole bunch of clay, gravel, and sand. So I'm going to make a whole bunch of that, toss it in all of these, and I will see you guys in a couple of minutes. And welcome back. As you can see, the quest is completed because I cooked a whole bunch of grout, made a bunch of seared bricks, and made a whole lot of blocks. So while this quest shows a relatively small number of blocks here, these numbers are a lie. You need way more than 2 seared bricks, because what you have to do to build a smeltery is build a square base of any relative real size and any real height framework around it, and it requires, the one I'm going to make requires about 50 of those bricks, so that's about what I've got there. So I guess we might as well just jump right to it and actually do the build now. Alright, so when the smeltery completes, you'll notice that this smeltery controller right here lights up. You'll notice that I have 4 of the drains here in front of it. If you look on the inside of it, you'll see that there's a larger part in the back. That's how you know it's facing the correct way. The small holes will face out. So I guess the question is, once you have a smeltery, what do you do with it? So you click on the smeltery controller and you'll see that you can see some capacity here and an inventory here. Well, one thing that's missing is fuel. So what I did while I was waiting for the grout to cook was go get a bucket of lava from this crashed meteor right over here. What you do is you just chuck it in there. You'll notice that because it was a clay bucket and it was lava, the bucket self-destructed, which is why I only grabbed 1 bucket's worth for now. So I don't honestly need a whole lot for right now. So once you have this, you can then go into the smeltery and see these 2 copper ores, just chuck them right in there. You'll see them tick up, and we'll wait a second. And when this completes, you'll see that it will fill up the smeltery with ingots, or well, with liquid ore that equals a certain capacity of ingots. So this will finish in a couple seconds here. And then, ding ding ding, we now have some 2 ingots of copper ore. So we come in here and take a look at the top, and oh, there it is, liquid copper ore. So that, unfortunately, is not useful on its own. So what we need to do is we need to use these casting tables to create a pattern to actually make anything. We could dump it into these casting bases to make blocks of copper, but it'll just half fill it up right now because there's only 2 ingots worth in there. So that would just end up wasting what we just made to do nothing. So, we'll look at the quest book because I think that actually tells us what we need to do anyways. Yep, harvest level 1, we need copper. And what do you do with the copper? You then go make a copper axe pick with it. So the question becomes, how... Oh, I can take stuff. We will take coal. Because I can get the other stuff pretty easily. I have a lot of sand around here for glass, and the seared bricks I have a few of. Just a few. So what you do after this point to make the cast is, we need to go grab some clay. And unfortunately, this is much like the clay bucket. This is single use. I can never remember how much of this I actually need to make a cast. To make a clay cast, we need 2 ingots worth, and I have no idea. I want to say it's a block's worth, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll try this. Dump that much in, we'll let that cook down. Yeah, that's cooking down. And while that's doing it, we'll show you how to make the cast. So, to do any of this with Tinker's Construct, you're basically creating your own custom equipment. I already have a set of wood and stuff done. You notice that it has stats on it. Ecological means that it regenerates over time. because this is all made out of wood right now. You can hot swap pieces in and out using this tool station. You can also repair them, so you can see I can put my shovel in here and it'll use up the wood and it's fixed. But more importantly, you can make tools out of different pieces. So if I wanted to, say, take this pickaxe, bring it back over to here, I could put it in here and I could put a new piece in to swap out like the axe head, which is what I'm going to do shortly. So we will come over here. What we need to do to make the pattern, however, is normally you come in here, you pick a pattern to make, you know, like a tool rod or a shovel or an axe head, whatever. We don't need to do that because I've already made all those. Then you come over here, you need to make the part, which is just like this. Slap the pickaxe head in here, and now we have a wooden pickaxe head. Grab that. Sleep because it's getting night, and nighttime in Enigmatica is pretty dangerous, guys. So I haven't brought this up yet. What happens at nighttime is you end up with lots of zombies, which, you know, doesn't sound scary, except they're wearing some of the top end gear in the game. So they can be kind of rough to run into. So now that we have this, you just slap this down on the casting table. We'll take a look at how much clay I have. 2 blocks worth. I don't know if that's enough or not, but we'll click this and it will fill this up. We will have a pickaxe head cast here in a second. Ding. Come back in here. We'll see that. Oh yeah, I can make a couple of those. That's good because I'll need those for a little bit until I can get gold. And then you dump the copper in. You just click on the one you want to switch it to switch it in. It takes 2 ingots worth to make the axe head. We'll bring the axe head over here. And we will put the axe on the tool station. We will grab the axe head, slap that here, and now you see I'm making a copper pickaxe that is both ecological and well established. Well established, if memory serves, just gives more XP, but I can't remember. I'd have to create the book. You know, let's look up materials in you. Because why lie to you guys? Record like pattern in a book, and I have books for days from looting villages. So let's grab a book. Let's go grab one of these. And let's slap them together and make us a book. Materials in you. So let's go into materials in here. The important part of this book is it just shows you what all of your materials do. Whoops. All of your materials do. So let's go here. You can see the list of a large chunk of them. And more and more and more because there are a lot of mods on the pack. So let's click on copper. Copper is well established. Gives extra XP. So I was wrong. But I'll also show you the stats that these pieces add specifically when they are the head, the binding unit piece, or the handle. Because in some cases, this isn't a good example because these are all the same on this page, but let's go to, like, let's find one real fast. Yeah, like steel. It gives sharp on the axe head, but stiff on the other two. So, different things can give different bonuses. They also can give different stats in different slots. So you want to make your things more variable over time. So that's how to get that. So the next step at this point, honestly, is to go mining, because the next step is to get up, basically up, to scale up your pickaxe head a couple stages up to here to get to the point where you can make better things. So like this would be go get a Certus crystal, which will then let us get to the iron, mine iron basically. So I'm gonna go do some mining off camera because that's boring and y'all don't need to watch that. I'll see you in a little while. And welcome back, folks. Now, I got some mining done, just like I said I would, but I would like to point out something far, far more important. I found a hamster! Look at that cute little guy right on my shoulder. And, oh yeah, the glasses. Pretty much the first thing that happened when I started mining was I punched through the hole of a dungeon and found a chest and a skeleton spawner staring right in front of me. So, yeah, I just popped a torch on the spawner, killed the skeletons, and, you know, took the glasses because, of course, I'm going to take the glasses. Come on! So, while we were out, though, I did some mining, and I got some prep work done, and, I mean, well, you notice my pickaxe now says Osmium Pickaxe, because, I might have made a little bit of progress without you guys, you know, up through, you know, the Certus level. Let's go claim, oh, let's take the hammer, I guess, because that will be clear stuff faster. Back up that, and then up through, oh, the iron tier, and that's some more lava, which is nice. And then up through the lead tier, and we'll take some bronze because I don't want to have to make it. and then up to the osmium tier. And now, why did we go all the way up to the osmium tier, you might ask? Well, let's take this alumite shovel, the night slime shovel head, because that's a pain to make. Why did I go all the way up to this? Well, one of the things I was blocked on was diamonds. And I found some diamonds. But why did I need diamonds? And why did I have to do this before I started building pretty much anything? Because I needed this diamond saw. Now, what I needed this saw for, you'll get to see in the next episode, because I got a little ambitious. A little ambitious. And we're pretty much out of time tonight. So let's just do one last thing. Let's pop open my inventory. Let's open up these two loot chests and see if we get anything interesting or worth talking about. So let's pop this down here and open them up. Well, oh, woo, we found a stack of ice. That's great. And an ardite coin, which has pretty much a single sole use. This would be if we make the what's it called, the lapidary generator, I think. It basically eats gems for the lapidary calibration for the numismatic dynamo. It basically eats gems for gems and money for power. So someday we'll be able to make that and then feed these into it, and that's about it. So didn't get anything too excited, but that's good enough, because we will get plenty more of these loot chests going forward. Anyhow, meet me next episode when I actually get around to building my base finally. Have a good one, folks, and thank you for watching. As always, I'm Ard, and have a good day.